Okay, there we go. I'm live. It finally set me live. Hey, what do you know? For after like 3 minutes of messing with my microphone, I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, I really don't. The microphone on this is not always agreeable. So, good morning. How are you? I'm now live, and I just wanted to say, okay, so I can see on here that my microphone is not very loud at all. It is really hard to get volume on this. So I don't know what to do on here to change my microphone. I've got it all turned up all the way, and I'm not sure what to do about it. So I've been messing with this, trying to see if I can find a different, control or something on here. It's Windows. If you open this up like a million years ago in '95 or '98, I could like click on it and it'd be like right there, but not anymore. So they hide everything. So you hire a technician, right? And obsolescence. So where I'm sitting right now, and I'll show you in a minute when I get up, is over. We had this trailer frame. It was like a mobile home back here. And somebody come in here. There was like the trailer frame, and it had burned down. I guess some people lived here. It's like the neighbors said it was a girl, and like her three sisters lived here or something. They had this place. They used to hang out a long time ago. And when I got it, it was already burned down. It was long gone. It was just rubble. And we cleared it off. There was all this metal here. So we came out and we cleared everything out, cleaned everything up. There's some piles now we're going to burn later. Take over the burn pile probably burn here. Mm. Good morning. Whew. First thing in the morning. I probably won't be on long, 10, 15 minutes or whatever. Say hello. So, but we've been cutting this up. We've been taking angle grinder discs and sawzall blades, whatever, cutting up, taking over the dump, taking over the salvage yard, get money for it. And they just totally throw me around so often on like what's worth anything. I went in one day with a load and they gave me like $200 or $200 and then I went in another day with like only about half that load, but it was still quite a bit of stuff, and they gave me like $40. It was real weird. So I don't know who was working that day or what, because they were like the same kind of metal, like the same amount of the same kind of metal. That just threw me off because we did have like a couple of motors with us, but that was only $20. It was like $12 or something for one motor, and $8. Just cleaning stuff up out here on the property. It's not fluctuating prices. Their prices per ton didn't change. I think either somebody stepped on the scale or something. I get the strong suspicion somebody went out there and just, leaned on the scale because they weigh 150 pounds, 200 pounds. They put their foot on it, it's going to add 80 pounds. If they do it when you're checking out, it makes your truck seem like you didn't put as much weight in there. They do stuff like that. Oh, especially around here. I've lived a lot of places over the years. I've been to a lot of different states and different parts of the country. And what I have found is that this is one of the most corrupt places I've ever been. There's more corruption here. There's more of that, what they call it, the good old boy network. There's more of that. There's more buddies helping buddies, people doing favors for friends and families. There's a lot of turning the blind eye for a friend and then coming down hard on somebody if they don't like them. It's very corrupt. A lot of the people here that are like, I can go out here and I can find, I knew that there was a deputy who lived down the street. He moved. And I know him. I know his dad. His dad runs the volunteer fire department. He's a deputy. And, he isn't really, he's a pretty good guy. I've met him. He's a nice enough guy. But you go to some of these people over here and it'll be like I said, his dad runs the volunteer fire department. And so you go over here, you find one of these guys, sheriff or deputy or whatever, and their cousin will be a jailer. They'll work at the jail. And their brother will be a bailiff in the court. And it turns out that his aunt is the judge, things like that. And it's just really hard to get away from that small town gossip, that good old boy network. It's very corrupt. And then the other thing is everybody here says they're like real spiritual and religious and they follow this religion, and then they don't. They're like the opposite of it. It's like they read it and they go to their services and then they don't practice it. Like they walk out of the church and they immediately figure, oh, well, I went, and so I'm absolved of everything I did wrong last week. I can go do other wrong things this week, and that's like their interpretation. they've ostracized you. If you don't, it's not even that you don't have their religion. It's if you don't have their denomination, they'll act like they're better than you. It's, oh well, those other people over there, they get this wrong, and it's real sad. It's real. There's a lot of conceit and arrogance where there should be fellowship and love, and that just makes me sad. And that sadness, I got to be honest. Sometimes that sadness gets turned to anger. It makes me angry. I'm sad because I see wrong in the world, and when it happens to me, I know it's happening to someone else. If it happened to me, it'll go to somebody else. And that sense of righteousness that somebody has done something wrong boils up in me because I can recognize when somebody's doing something wrong, and that sets me in a place, and that just gets my blood boiling. I get so furious, I get so upset. So what can you do? Just try and stay away from me. All that's a million miles away from me right now for the most part. I'm over here. I got this spot. If I don't leave my house, if I don't go anywhere, I ain't got to deal with it. I don't have to talk to anybody. Why? Walmart delivers. Walmart delivers to my door. I live 4 miles from a highway in the woods, and Walmart delivers to my door. The big box store. And UPS and FedEx and Amazon, they all send packages out here, so I get anything I need. I don't have to go anywhere. Very rarely. When I get the guard, I don't know if you can hear the neighbor's chicken over there hollering. I don't know if it's coming through on this mic. There's a neighbor's chicken over there hollering. If I want eggs, I go buy the eggs off my neighbors who raise chickens. It's not hard. There's just a lot of options I have here. But if I don't want to leave, if I don't want to go interact with the outside world, I don't have to. And that was definitely something that was a motivating factor in putting this all together. Was I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to talk to them. I don't want to go to Le Target. I don't want to go to Coley's. I don't want to go to Bed Bath and Beauty. I don't want to. I don't care. What do I want to buy? What do I need to buy out there? What do I need to consume? I fast regularly. I don't need to eat the way other people do. I got a house with shelter. It's not great. It's not fancy, but I have shelter. It's getting easy. A little bit more work here and there. It'd be a lot nicer. Basically, right now in the house, I'm crammed into a hotel room. I got like a bathroom and a bedroom. The bedroom is big. It's 12 by 16, and then the bathroom area is 8 by 12. So I've got 12 by 24 in there. I'm living. So I have a full size bathroom and a utility room. So you think about a hotel, they got the bathroom, and then they've got like the room next to the bathroom, the sink and the ironing board and stuff is. I have that. It's basically the way my house is set up. And then I've got a big 12 by 16 room, which is like a big hotel room. And on one part of it, I've got the kitchen. So I live in a little studio. But it's paid for. It's built. It's there. I can make it better and nicer. That's certainly a goal to make it nicer, so it's more comfortable for me, and I can get more done with it. I have shelter. My water comes from the sky. I catch water out of the rain. If I really need to, if I'm hard up for water, I go buy some water. I have somebody come out here and fill up my tank. A couple $100. Pay water if I need to. I do. And then I've got propane for heat because I don't want to cut wood. If I've got a wood burner, if I want to cut wood and not buy propane, I can. I can cook. My neighbor does it. He works at a sawmill and he cuts trees in his yard and burns wood all day. And if you want to cook on wood and heat your house with wood every day, you can do it. I don't want a burning fire in my house in the middle of summer, so I got propane. So easier. I've got solar set up. I've got I'm good to go. What do I not have? I've got buildings. I've got storage buildings. I got a box truck over there. I use this because the motor died. I had a box truck motor died, so I use a big storage building. It's like having a shipping container. I have computers and books. I got gemstones. I'll show you my gemstones one day. My dad was a rock hound, so I got like jade and agate and quartz and amethyst. I got all these gemstones. They're like diamonds or rubies or nothing. I got a box of gemstones. A couple of them. Real pretty. I put them on display one year. I'll see if we get some photos up. I had all the shelves up. I had the agates all laid out, quartz crystals, jade. It was real pretty to have it all displayed. I got some nice thrift store silver. I got some of the better thrift store silver. I know how to pick. Real silver platters for decoration. I have a nice place with nice stuff. There are things I would improve. I want my solar system to be a little bigger. I'd like a bigger system. Okay, we'll go ahead and get to it now. I'll go ahead and break down. I'm sitting over there, 50 or 100 feet that way, building said reactor. I live in a state that does not have our state didn't sign the same thing as 40 other states, 48 other states. There are 2 states in the country that do this. Mine's one of them, and we didn't file the compact or accord or whatever that puts us with the same regulatory commission as everybody else. So the NRC does not regulate; it's done by the Department of Energy, and they don't have any regulations here. Like I have to follow basic federal law and make sure I'm compliant. So before you think I'm completely nuts, I was on the microreactor team at my university this year. We went to a conference. This is like the 3rd year we went. We got a prize from the governor. They gave us like $3 million to build microreactors. And I'm not talking about a big cooling tower. I'm talking about something the size of a water heater. And I don't know for sure if I'm going to build it, but we've come out, we've been investigated, and after I do some more work, it is possible I might build a tiny working reactor. I don't know yet. I might move. That's one of the things I work on. It's Wayfarer Technologies. It's some of the stuff I work on. The reactor is supposed to be safe enough you could put it on like a rich person, like Jeff Bezos or Dr. Phil or Oprah or something. Right? We're a real famous, super rich person, Tom Cruise, that kind of person that can afford to have a tiny miniature. And we say reactor. What I'm building uses a reaction, but it's nothing like the other big companies. It's little. So the off gas is helium. I'm real big on this nuclear 2.0. I think that we've got some amazing technology that's coming in the next 20 to 30 years, the next 10 or 15 years, and it's going to revolutionize how we use energy production. It's going to make it way different. So one of the machines I'm working on, the only byproduct is helium. It doesn't run forever. You gotta, the material it uses is commonly available. It needs a very specific catalyst. It's common metal, but it has to be a very pure sample of that metal, and the fuel it burns has to be incredibly purified, or it won't work right. And so it's somewhat expensive to make the fuel, but it's a lot cheaper than trying to buy gasoline. And again, the off gas, the only byproduct is helium. So we might build that over there. Other things we're looking at building: underground thermal storage. We might do that at some point. Build some pits that have got the right kind of rock in it, and you run hydronic piping through it to store heat. We might do that. Now those are kind of long-term lofty goals. Those are things I'd like to do. If I get the grant funding for it, I can't afford all that on my own. Don't get me wrong. The regulation on it is set to, it's only a couple thousand a year because of my size, because I've less than so many employees and my output is below so many watts. I don't have to pay millions of dollars a year in safety. They come out and that's subsidized because they want more microreactors or more of these. And imagine this: if 4 of them should run a small farm. The idea was to take this and you got to Vanuatu or something, or American Samoa, somewhere on a little island in the middle of nowhere, and you've got a fridge that has insulin or medicine in it, and you need to keep it refrigerated. If there's a storm, you can't get diesel to that generator. You have to have it run long term. And when you've got remote installations way up in the mountains, so this thing was built to be carried and assembled out of sea lockers, foot lockers, sea chests, and that was the idea, is that it could be carried in and assembled in a location that's very difficult to get to, and you only need to refuel this generator, this reactor, like every 5 or 10 years or something. It's very, very easy. So that was one of the projects I'm working on. I'm an academic. I do a lot of work at the university. I worked really hard over the years to get to a position where I can basically just do whatever I want. I don't have to. I paid off my land. I flipped a house. I worked hard in college, and I can basically be here. I worked real hard. There was a lot of nights I stayed up until 2 or 3, 4 o'clock in the morning at the truck stop to understand math that did not make sense to me. I skipped calculus. I didn't take calculus 1, 2, or 3. I took differential equations, which is calculus 4. And it killed me. It just beat me up so bad. It was so hard. I have to understand exactly how smart I am. And if you are half my age, if you're 18, 19, 20 years old and you're out there and you are not going to go to a kegger, man, and do a keg stand, and if you're not going to go over there and, rip a big one, buddy, and blow a giant dragon cloud, if you're not going to do that, if you're going to stay home and you're going to study hard, you're going to get further in life faster. That's a flat out fact. If you work hard at mathematics, you work hard at academics, and you put your muscle to the metal, and you really work at it, you will get where I am faster. There's no question. I went out and had a great time. I had kind of a crummy childhood, like a lot of people. I was not impressed with my childhood. It wasn't great. And so I went out and like a lot of people, I just went to this big wild party. It was called the 90s. I don't know if you were there. Um, but everybody was just doing everything and everyone. It was great. I kind of miss it. At the same time, I don't want to go back. It's like, it was fun then. Things happened in life. 9/11 was one of them. It's just, that changed a lot of things. It's like that moment you kind of a sobering moment, a grow up moment. 9/11. I remember we were tearing the roof off at 12 and 12. That's a 45-degree pitch, 12 feet over, 12 feet up, 12 and 12. And so it's 45-degree. We're on this roof, we're tearing the pile. He says, hey, we need to go. There's something on the news. You go to Boss Takes Silver's house. Over. And we watched somebody said when the plane flew into one of the Twin Towers. We didn't know what was going on yet. We thought it was an accident. We over saw the second hit. I looked over and says, you know what we got to do now, right? He goes, no, so we got to go back to work. I said, what do you mean? He goes, that's exactly what they don't want us to do. We have to go back to work and work. We have to go back and do this like it is any other day. We cannot let them win. We tore off the roof. I don't know what your sobering moment is going to be. I don't know what your moment that changes the world for you is. I think for my mom, it was Kennedy. Kennedy got killed. It's different for everybody. But I spent the first few years of my life till I was 22 or something, messing around, having fun. I won't worry about it. I didn't go back to college until I was 25. It's the way student loans work. I couldn't go. So at 25, I'd worked a little bit at that point, a couple of years, and I was trying to settle down with somebody, trying to settle down. And I went back to college, and I thought I was going to scrape by, and I got straight A's. And I did it again for year after year after year after year because I made going to school my job. So what is my career? What's my profession? I'm an academic, and I worked hard. And I saved up my student loans, and I tried not to take out extra if I didn't need them. I got scholarships and grants because I worked real hard. I remember. And one day I bought this place. I sold that house. I sold it to this gal. It had a studio apartment in the attic. It was two and a half. It was two and a half, 3 stories tall. It's called 3-story tall if you count the attic. There was a deck coming off the attic that came out of the sliding doors and looked out over the entire block. There wasn't any other. It was one of the tallest houses in the neighborhood. It was beautiful. 3 stories done. It started as a little 1-bedroom, single-story bungalow, little shotgun shack, and I built onto the side over, and then I went up. We were going to do it with just like a little split roof and make like a little cubby up there. And we were like, finally, that we got delayed, and I was like, all right, whatever, just redict the whole thing. Made it 2 stories, put an apartment in the attic. And the gal that bought it, she bought it on contract from me. She had to make payments, and she got it. She messed it up so bad. She didn't take care of it. Missed every payment she could. If she had a chance to miss a payment and not violate that contract, she would miss it. And finally, after I had money, I'd flipped another house. I had $40,000 in cash in my hand, like 40 grand. Actually, I paid off some bills. So I had like 35 after I paid off a couple of bills. And she didn't tell me for 6 months that it needed work. I kept saying, hey, are you going to pay this? Hey, are you going to pay this? And she paid payments on it after she moved out, thinking she was going to move back in. And ended up getting condemned because she didn't take care of it. It wasn't lived in at the time. And it'd be the way it was, I would have had to have hired a contractor to come fix it because you can't fix something that's not your own house in that city. That's part of why I moved out of the city. It's just weird stuff like that. I couldn't fix my own house. I couldn't enter my own house. I would have had to hire someone to come clean up the house that I was selling to get permit to go in and fix to occupy it, and then it was just this big fiasco that would have. I would have had to pay somebody thousands and thousands of dollars to clean up my own house to then do work on it and repair. It was just a big mess. And so I turned around and I wrote that house off. I said, okay, that's fine. You don't owe me $60,000. You're done. She had me $65,000 left in principal plus interest, and I wrote it off. Says, you don't owe me a dime. You can pay for that because the city came out and bulldozed it. They put a $10,000 lien. They bulldoze it. They pay. You make it pay. So she owes the city $10,000 on that. She don't owe me nothing. She owes the city the bulldoze fee. but I didn't want to get stuck holding the house with nothing on it and $10,000 in debt. So I wrote it off. I let her have it. Well, because I did that, I could claim it as a loss. And when I paid this place off and flipped that other house, I paid this place off. I didn't have to pay any taxes on that house I flipped because I lost money that year technically. I cast capital gains exclusion. How's that, wizard? In a minute, I'm gonna try and cast diversify equity. See how that works. I'm there. I made it. If you made it somewhere, if you're trying to get here, you can do it. I did it on student loans and odd jobs. Okay. The most cash I've ever had at one time is like 40 grand. I did walk around with $21,000 in my pocket in a bank bag. That was really hot. That was just to have $20,000 in this pocket right here, stuffed in a folded up bank bag. That was great. That was just to walk around like, I got 20 grand in my pocket. I don't got total money. It will stop the bullet. My money will stop the bullet. So, anyway, I said to do this more. I like live, and gives me something to do. I'm somebody in here to talk to, ask me questions, check out my feed. So I'm out here this morning. I've been on here 20 minutes. I'm going to go back in and try and get this going, get this uploaded and everything. I've got some other people whose streams I want to see. For me right now, this is all about a journey. You're on a journey with me. I'm learning to be a content creator, and this is as much a journey for me to explore who I am and what I want to say on here. It's a platform. So don't give up. I have my give up days. For all that I have and as good as I'm doing, you take off you look inside here. There are days crippling sadness, and that's hard to talk about. Trying to but yeah, by myself, I have all this stuff and I don't have anybody to share it with. It's beautiful, but who do I get to say, hey, look at that squawk over there? I couldn't flip the camera around fast enough. Who do I share that with? I guess you guys. But when I roll over at night and I'm warm in my bed, there's nothing to pull close, and that makes me sad. I knew a gal named Susan a long time ago. Friends. She came over and hung out with me. She made me a steak one day. Just hanging out. She raised wolves. She had a wolf named Fate. We talked about wolves. And one thing she said to me, she said, enjoy your alone time. Value your alone time. Because when you don't have it, when there's people here, you're going, oh, I like being able to turn real loud and not care that it bothers anybody. I like being able to listen to whatever I want and not tell somebody to change the channel. I like being able to get up and go to bed when I want and not disturb people. I like being able to concentrate on some of the hard problems I do. I want being all by myself all the time. I'm a living person. I need love the same as anybody else. I need that. I crave affection. There's no question about that. I don't get enough physical human contact. I don't get enough hugs. I don't get enough high fives. Pats on the back, none of that. By myself. And so those little things start to miss them. And after a while, all you can do is miss those things. It becomes the one thing that's missing. Oh, here's what I'm missing. Here's what I'm missing. Here's what I'm missing. And you start to want and crave and obsess and look for someone everywhere. You get less picky. So, at least that person's here. At least that person's around. Maybe they're not the girl of my dreams. Maybe they don't have everything in common. Maybe they don't take as good a care of themselves as you like. Maybe they got a bad habit. You start to accept that because what you want is something inside. You want something for you. I was talking to somebody and they said, find that for yourself. And if I'm in love with me, then I'm a narcissist. That's arrogance. If you're in love with yourself, that's arrogance. Okay, we look down on that. I can tell you that I love me. I know I'm a good person, and I try really hard to do good try to be noble and altruistic to a fault. I've put myself in bad situations in life trying to follow the principles and the things that were more important. In a bad situation, try to be a good person. I know I work hard and I study hard and I value people and personal freedom and intellectual pursuits over money and shallow things. I can look at me and say, I love you. I can say, storyteller, I love you as a person. You're a good guy. Keep at it. I can do that. But I can't have somebody else be in love with me. You can't do that for yourself. You can't have somebody else walk up to you and say, I love you so much. I'm so glad you're in my life. I can't say, somebody else can't say, I'm so glad you're here. You weren't here before and I was sad and you're here now and I'm happy. You can't do that for yourself. That has to come from someone else. And that is the thing I missed and I crave. I want somebody very much to be in love with me, that I'm in love with. And now here's the thing. Here's what I've learned about the opposite gender there that I'm attracted to. The more you want them, the more they want to go away. I figured that out. The more you tell them how great they are and how wonderful they are and how much you love them and how much they mean to you, the more you end up chasing them off. I don't understand that. So there's some happy medium there about letting them know they're beautiful and wonderful and great, but not being needy. And I don't know how to tell a woman I need her without telling her I need her. We'll do 20 questions in 2 minutes. On one of these next, we'll do a short. Little bit about me. The property, I bought this about 7-8 years ago. I spent the first couple of years in one camper, and then I was in a bigger RV. I bought off of somebody out here. They didn't want any more, and that one started getting, it was old to begin with. It had one of the windows, the skylight sprung a little leak from the air conditioner weight or something. I was like, I'm not messing with this. So we ended up moving into the cabin, the cottage. We got it built up. We'll do a tour on that another morning. I'm in the middle of construction, so all of the stuff in one room is crammed into the other room, so it's kind of piled up while I'm getting the other room prepared for construction. So once we have that a little bit more set up, we'll move some things around and see if we can get a tour in there. I just want to make it a little nicer before I go. There's a pile of dirty clothes. We just put a bunch of stuff up in the loft. There's still a box of things. So. And all of the cans of energy drinks I drink, I just throw them randomly at the person. It's done. Crush, throw, and just throw them over in big piles. It's just tea. Just a little iced tea. I'll go in a minute and I'm going to grab some monster something. I think it's the one with the tropical something. That tastes good when I listen to Brazilian jazz. Music I listen to everything, even country sometimes. I like 11 country songs. Several are by Garth Brooks. The one by Shania Twain that don't impress me much. I really am a rocket scientist. I really do look like Brad Pitt. Well, I'm trying to keep you warm in the middle of the night. Okay, that's what I want. It's like all I want. It's the only thing that's not in my life. It's the only part of me that is missing. It's you. So we've been on here for about 30 minutes, and I'm going to wrap up. And on another day, we'll go to a different part of the property. I have 15 acres, give or take, just about 15 acres. It's a little more because you go up and down hills, but if you measure it on a map, it's about 15. So you have your actual and your measurement sizes. 15 acres, and we're over at the old, I call it the Dragon Bones because it's an old, rusted out frame. Cut it up. It's one of the RPGs I do is about Dragon Bones. About people finding Dragon Bones are metallic and worth a bunch of money in that game. But yeah, we might put a reactor over there, maybe, if I need it, if my solar is big enough, if I can't do the stuff I want to do. If I start running machines, if I start running industrial machines, I'll want it for that. It's just too expensive otherwise. I do live in a place where you can get away with that. You have to be very. Now here's the deal. I still have to be certified. I have to pass safety inspection. So just because I can doesn't mean I get away with doing this shoddy. I have to do a really good job of it. I have to do it the same as any professional installation. And it's a prototype. That means I actually have to be more careful. So, but no, I'm not just some random whoever. I have credentials. I've been registered as a research contractor for a long time. I have very specific credentials. This is not my first time working on something high tech. I work with the university. The head of the nuclear department at my university gave me a book on nuclear fission. Okay, the head of the nuclear department, who is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. He comes up to about my shoulder. He's about that tall. And I walk in, and we're doing a balancing equation. He goes, and just remember, whenever you're doing exponents, you just add and subtract the exponents. And you know, to the radicals. I was like, yes, because every good schoolboy remembers that. It's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. Runs the nuclear department at the school. Has a fondness for discussing mangoes, from what I understand. So if you know who that is, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say that guy's just super intelligent. And then the other guy I work with is he's from Central America. And he came into town, and he is one of the smartest. He's a very animated, brilliant person. I've worked closely with him on balancing the reactions and making sure that the principles I was working on would do what I wanted. So one design actually uses a little tiny bit of Pu-238, and then it uses an American beryllium compound. It's a secondary fuel. It uses two-stage, so it burns up that secondary compound really fast and uses just such a tiny amount of fissile material. A core. Not a rod the size of a bus and a bundle of 12, 15 rods. It's been with a bunch of other bundles. Right, that much. And then the secondary, about another 7 or 8 quarters around the circle. That's one of the reactors. The other one uses a neutron beam to cause a catalyst to split a rock into helium. That's what I'm working on out here. That's one of them. Other things I work on: augmented reality, VR and AR for educating people, telepresence, long distance presence stuff with communications. My advisor was in quantum computing. I know how quantum computers work. And yes, those really are my rulers. Why, yes, these are my rulers. Yes, these are my rulers. Uh, yes, I have offers. I have all my life. They're attached. It's a real offer. Whether it be a control system for a nuclear reactor or augmented reality to educate the disabled and help them adapt, all kinds of stuff I've worked on over the years. Space platforms, all kind of things. That's what I do. I do a lot of real high tech stuff. Academia served me well, and I have this land out here, and I spend my days in intellectual pursuits or trying to do some creative writing. I love gaming, so I write tabletop games and I write games, and so that's me. But I don't where I want family. I want people in my life that love me for me. It's getting bright over here. The sun's coming through the trees. It's changed my lighting. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. And this is up. And I will talk to you all tomorrow, the next day. I will try to stream at least a few times a week, so you know how I'm doing, and show you guys around the property and where everything is and what we're working on. So very briefly here, I'm going to go show you there. This is an old mobile home we ended up taking apart, referred to as the Dragon Boats. There's some more of it over there. We end up cutting this up. So I'm just out here sitting at this side of the property today. And I'll see you guys on the next stream. Take care.